Okay, so it's been a while since I've done a video, and I'm going to do something a little different this time. Now, for those of you that were watching my Introduction to Objective Personality series, I will be continuing with that, but I'm still preparing the slides for the next video in the series, which is the animals, so that I will be doing that. But this video is going to focus on how I think the enneagram types correlate to the different coins in objective personality. Now, keep in mind that this is just my guess, so you may have a different opinion here, but let's get started. So, because I'm Savior OI, I need to work on my Demon OE. So, one way I'm going to do this is I'm just going to have a little bit of chaos here, and I've decided to do these types in random order. Okay, so I'm going to start with type 6. So type 6, I think this one's a little harder to pin down because like 6s in the Enneagram are a lot of different types in the MBTI. 6s just manifest so different. You have phobic 6s and counterphobic 6s. I think the same is true in objective personality. I think there's really a lot of types that can be 6s, and I think you're going to find them all over the spectrum. But I think it might be somewhat more common for 6s to be a single observer, because so much of the type 6, is about fear, and fear of that unknown. And sometimes it's real physical things that they fear, like snakes or heights, or it could just be more abstract things that they fear. But yeah, so I would maybe lean somewhat towards single observer with type 6s. And although I will say that 6s do struggle with decisions. 6s are kind of indecisive sometimes, and that's kind of more of a decider thing. But overall, because, I think it's more about fear than pain for them, I still favor single observer for type 6s. And I would lean more towards the IJ end of it, just because, the fear of the unknown and, fear of the unfamiliar, and going outside your box. Although I think there are some EP 6s, especially those that are on the more counterphobic side, might be more likely to be an EP. Yeah. Okay, so next type, I'm going to skip to type 9. So type 9s are often good mediators, and so I associate this with double deciding. Being able to see both sides of the issue, whether or not you agree with the other person, just being able to see where they're coming from. So yeah, I can see double deciding in 9s, although like single deciders and 6s, I think 9s sometimes struggle with decisions sometimes, really, drastically changing up their life. They kind of tend to be in their comfort zone, which can maybe be like an IJ kind of thing, like I'm stuck in my box. So I can see that happening as well. I think 9s are concerned about preserving energy. So I think they would tend to be savior sleep. And, maybe energy dominant, because I know like savior sleep and blast last maybe, just because a lot of 9s sometimes have trouble getting started on things. But then on the other hand, I know some 9s that are savior blast, and they think that they're consuming because they're watching videos all day, but it's the same, narrow range of videos that happens to be in their box, and that's their comfort zone. But I think for animals, I would say sleep above play in general. And with the modalities, I would definitely see a masculine DI and feminine DE. 9s, they try to avoid conflict with people. And, They seem to be very feminine with a tribe. I'll do what you want to do. I won't make waves. But on the inside, they're quite stubborn. And if they ignore that masculine DI for too long, all of a sudden it comes out as strong cat energy. I think when they thought about cat energy, I think they kind of had the 9 in mind. Okay, I'm going to jump to type 3 now. I told you I was going all over the place here. Okay, well, type 3s are achievers. And they are go, and do this and achieve that. So I think that I would associate them with those blast play crackheads, because they're always doing, and sometimes they're not taking a break for themselves. So I also think that a lot of them would be sleep last. And I think they might lean more towards T than F on the letters, because I think a lot of 3s are thinking about competency and how effective am I? What am I accomplishing? And that's more of a T language. And I also think Savior DE, because by doing things and getting the tribe validation that they're seeking, it then validates themselves. Even though they do have a strong need for significance, like DI, they seem to be doing these things to get the validation from the tribe, because they're really concerned about the image that they're bringing to others. Okay, type 1. Okay, so type 1's the perfectionist. So I think that they would correlate best with IJ types. So lead OIs, because they want to control things and they want to get everything right, and they don't like chaos, and they have a certain way that they want things to be. I think especially a masculine OI function, like if they're a lead SI and they're a type 1, they might be kind of a grammar Nazi, you got to use the right word and the right grammar. Yeah, I could see that with type 1s, when they're less healthy. And, a lot of type 1s, I think, are blasters, because they kind of control others, telling them what should be done and how, how to do it. And this is the right way to do it. This is the wrong way. So yeah, I think it also correlates with blast. Type 7. Yeah, this one's pretty easy. EP types. Savior OE. Give me freedom. Give me options. Don't control me, bro. Very 7-ish. And I also think for animals, I think they're the skibs. Savior consume and savior play. Those animals both have OE in it, because it's about freedom and not limiting their options. Type 8. I think type 8s would lean more towards thinking than feeling. Because again, I think type 8s, they're kind of blunt, and I tell the truth as it is, and some of them may not be so in touch with the more feeling side of things, or may tend to disregard that. And I think 8s tend to be a higher energy type, so I could see this going with savior blast and play, kind of like 3s, just taking action and doing things. Although the main difference is that 8s aren't seeking as much external validation as the 3s are. And I think a lot of 8s struggle with their inner vulnerability, because on the outside, they appear very confident, kind of tough. So I can see masculine DE, kind of that dog energy, bite, bite, bite. But then on the inside, they're a little more vulnerable and fragile. So I would say feminine DI for them. Okay, type 4s. So type 4s, kind of strive to be significant in their own unique way, very individualistic. So I could see them as being IP types, kind of having that single decider decider issue, not balanced with significance versus the tribe. And as far as letters go, type 4 is kind of more really being in touch with your inner feelings and embracing them. So if you combine IP with Savior F, you get lead FI. I also think that they tend to be more N than S in OP terms, because they kind of like, those deeper meanings, the abstractions, and some of them kind of maybe disrespect the ST more. As far as animals go, I think they'd be more on the mopey side, because they're kind of, deep into themselves and their inner world, and, less concerned with, with what's out there and blasting or playing with the tribe. Now, maybe this is more of a loose correlation, but just my personal observations. But I wonder if 4s are kind of more visual in modality, so feminine sensing, just because a lot of 4s claim to have really solid intuition, and maybe it's just because a lot of 4s I know are visual artists. That's just speculation here. Okay, type 5. So I think type 5s, like type 4s, are kind of, absorbed into themselves. Maybe I could see some IP correlation, but if type 4s are more FI, I think type 5s are more TI, because type 5 is more cerebral and it's more logical and analytical and block-baiting, and so I think a lot of them might be lead TIs. And like type 4s, I think that they tend to be on the mopier side, especially with the animals. A lot of type 5s, they want their personal space. They need a lot of alone time to just process. And I also think a lot of type 5s, they want to consume something in depth before they're even going to share it with other people. So consume over blast. Although I would say that I slightly favor infodominant for type 5s, because they do tend to take information really seriously. And a lot of 5s I know, they do like to share their information with others once they've done a lot of processing and consuming on their own first, which makes them play last. And that kind of makes sense with type 5s, because a lot of type 5s kind of have anxiety about, playing with the tribe, just spontaneously pinning off. And oftentimes they just don't want to do that play stuff. I think that's kind of a big struggle for them. And I also think 5s, I would say most of them with modalities are probably going to be masculine DI. They tend to not be so much shovey on the tribe, but oftentimes they're shovey on their own personal ideas. Like if they're lead TI, I think it tends to be masculine TI from what I've seen. Which leaves one more type here, and that's type 2. So type 2s are the helpers in the enneagram, and they're often doing things for the tribe, but deep down they feel like they got to give in order to be loved. That's really what they're after. And I think this correlates with EJ, the tribe human need, doing things for the tribe, caring for the tribe, helping them out. Now that could be FE or TE lead, but I think it correlates more with FE lead, like when you read the 2 descriptions, because it talks about, them being emotionally affectionate and just outwardly emotional and expressive. So I think it correlates best with FE lead. But you might see some TE leads, kind of tending towards type 2 because they're doing so much for others and they're helping others out. As far as animals go, I would say play above sleep, because they're expending energy for other people and doing things for others, and they're not always asserting their own boundaries and taking adequate time for themselves. Now, I think modalities are kind of interesting with this because I've seen some type 2s that are really masculine with the DE, kind of like, I know what you need. I can help you, let me help you, and they're almost kind of shovey on it. And then there's other type 2s that are more feminine in the DE function, like they want to help you, they'll be there, but they're less shovey about it. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the 9 Enneagram types and how they correlate with objective personality. Now, like I said, these are just my guesses. So I'd be interested in your thoughts. Please write them in the comments, what you think each Enneagram type correlates with NOP. I'd like to hear from you. And if you want to see more of my videos, please like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. Bye-bye.